For many years, I've been in Bondo. I think this is one of the few times that I've seen a group, or I've seen a meeting that addresses these sensitive issues of gender violence. For that, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back or clap for yourself because you've done a good job. I've also listened to the ladies, Wakina Jacqueline, and of course the gentleman, who are also talking about the issues of human rights. This thing is always taken for granted, but it's a serious, serious issue in our midst. Now, the issue of gender-based violence. Today, we are marking the end of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And when we talk of that, all the time, our minds run in issues of women and girls. I know at some stage, maybe this thing will be revised. Gender-based violence is not only violence against women and girls. It is also against women. And I want you to think of it this way. It is not always the men who perpetuate the gender-based violence, but also women, also among their fellow women. Kosa ariambo yao. Ariambo. And also against some men, few of them, because men are strong. Today, we officially opened that center that deals with issues of women's rights, issues of illnesses and diseases, different types of diseases. We are lucky. The wellness center that was opened today, we are lucky here, because this is the first one I've had in these areas. Thank you very much, the Minister for Health, who made it possible, and that it should be built in this place. It means it is easier for anybody with a problem to walk in. The biggest problem that most girls and women have is that they don't know who to turn to. They don't know where to go. They are scared of being seen as they go to these places. Sometimes they are scared. Sometimes they are too young even to know that they have to report. They are ignorant. Violence is done not only to mature women, young girls, but I've noticed in the last few days I've been home here, I noticed even very old women. I know very many old women, I met some, who have run away from their homes because nobody cares for them and because nobody wants them in their old age to stay in their home. They are looking for safe areas, and most of the time they run into churches to go and take refuge in those churches. And these are groups that people don't remember, people don't think about them. I know many girls, young girls, teenagers, when they come pregnant, everybody turns against them. The parents turn against them, chases them away. The father is hostile. The mother doesn't know what to do. doesn't know how to do, how to hide her child. It makes them worse. And these are the cases that they run away, and when they run away, you don't know what happens to them. Sometimes they end up committing suicide. We must take care of them. But the best thing is to teach them not to get pregnant when they are young, when they are not ready to get pregnant. I run a program called Linda Kesho. Linda Kesho means protect. Let's protect our tomorrow. And our tomorrow are these young people. Tomorrow are you young people who are here. Linda Kesho program deals with campaign against teenage pregnancies and early marriages. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, there is time for everything. When you are still a young person, it is not your turn to start making families, experimenting with your body, getting pregnant at that early stage. And particularly, I've seen cases where young people, a young girl, 13, 14, and a classmate, a young boy, 14, they are becoming parents. They know nothing. Desist from that. A time will come and we want to take you to that marriage when you are ready. But right now, it is not yet time. There's also a way we can actually eradicate this. Sometimes, the young people, you go to wrong places. You are found in wrong places. And when they get into trouble, the parents get into trouble, the community gets into trouble, everybody gets into trouble. In case, because there's also a lot of defilement, the lady here talked about 6-month-old baby. I felt like swallowing my heart. 6-month-old baby, she doesn't know what to do. But if you're a grown-up, 4 years, 10 years, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, in case somebody touches you in the wrong place, be firm and tell them no. And if need be, scream to the top of your voice. Scream. Do you understand what I'm saying? As I was sitting there, I was saying that we are only talking to the young people. But where are their parents? I hope that next time we organize such a meeting, let's involve the parents. Because the parents must also know that they have a responsibility to take care of themselves and to take care of their children. Let's talk to the leadership, including the political leaderships. I would have loved to see the MCAs, particularly those women MCAs. I would have loved to see them here. Because they're the people that when things happen, you run to. So next time, let's involve many more people, other than the people who are already converted. And then let's have small groups, like club in the villages, so that they can also talk to one another, involve one another as they talk. If something happens to you, run to your administrative head. Run to your chief, sub-chief, run even to the Jadwongwen, run even to the church elder, run to somebody who is responsible. Don't hide. Don't feel ashamed. Get to be known. I also had a case of widows. I'm a daughter of a widow. I grew up as a daughter of a widow. I know widows can also have problems. Next time when you have the widows, they should also know their rights, but they also should know their limitations. I don't know the problems of widowers. I've never met many of them. But I don't know their problem, but I hope somebody somewhere will be responsible to find out the problems of widowers and probably address them as well. But they have a problem, particularly if they've got children. And if those children happens to be girls, they have a problem. They don't know how to handle that case. So we must also take them also into account and see how they can also be assisted to take care of their children.
So I'm not going to spoil the speech that my teacher is going to give presently, but I just want to raise a couple of issues. Tomorrow marks the end of the 16 days of activism on the elimination of violence against women and girls. And tomorrow is Human Rights Day. One of the facts that exist is that violence against women and girls is the most pervasive human rights violation in the world. It's not just in Siaya, it's not just in Kenya. And that, of course, has implications, not just for the life of our nation, the life of our county, but also for equality across the globe. Now, the statistics that were read to us by the representative of the Kenya Red Cross are very grim. I just wanted to add that when you also, because many people here have spoken about gender-based violence, and this means also we have to pay attention to violence against boys and men, as our CEC for Education referenced. 18% of all reported cases in Kenya happen to be violence that is reported by young men. And mainly young men. The old men, they fear reporting because of stigma. So we are going to speak out on everybody's behalf and say that we have to end this gender-based violence. We can speak out and speak up. Recently, we opened the Idah, the Dr. Idah Odinga Center for Excellence in Sigomre, and the young children there had this refrain which I want to repeat to you, and they kept saying, "Okwa biling, okwa biling." Okwa biling means what? Atuta nyama okwa biling. You're supposed to say it back to me. Okwa biling? Yes, atuta nyamaza. So that is one of the actions that we can really take in our community. And as you can see on that poster of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, it says there, stand up for someone's rights today. It doesn't have to be you. And there's this notion that we are protecting our women, our girls, our sisters. No, girls have their own rights as human beings. Women are not your women. They are women because they are human beings. So we are going to speak up for their rights because they are whole and they are human. So that's one action we can take. The other action, which I think has come up, we keep talking about teenage pregnancies and focusing on adolescent girls. These girls did not make themselves pregnant, right? So who is on the other side of that teenage pregnancy? It's either some old men or some young men or some, their age mates. So we also need to focus on those people. So if our issue is teenage pregnancy, we can't focus on half the issue. It has to be the whole issue. So we have to push forward on these things. There are many things that I think Bondo is leading us in, and the other sub-counties, we are feeling a little bit like stepchildren. We will step up. We will look for more assistance. Our ministers are here, so we'll set up this kind of response centers and learning centers across the whole of Siaya, so that we can see how to work across our county to ensure that we are offering better response services across the county. I mean, there are many actions, but I think those three are important.
This marks the end of an intensive 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The theme has been to unite activism to end violence against women and girls. And from there, we are here to celebrate some of the progresses that we've achieved as a county. So just like I mentioned, we are here to commemorate and acknowledge some of the progresses that we made in the war of human rights and gender violence issues in this particular county. As much as we've made sterling progress as a county, I think there is still a lot of things that needs to be done within that particular county. And I think even my colleague Elizabeth from Malmi has really alluded to the fact of some of the gaps that we are still impeding the war against gender-based violence. So why are we here as Global Fund, representing the Global Fund team? The statistics have shown that there is a very strong correlation between sexual and gender-based violence and also HIV. And I would want to gauge our mind a little bit from the last 1 year, how the statistics has been. The statistics have shown significant correlation between gender-based violence and HIV infection, as well as increased teenage pregnancies, with Siaya County feeling the fair share of the impact. Kenya Information Health System recently revealed that adolescents aged between 10 and 17 accounted for 38% of the total SGBV cases that were reported between July 2021 and June 2022 nationally. Of the pregnancies recorded after 4 weeks of exposure to SGBV, 68% were among adolescents, girls aged 10 to 17 years. And that 48% of the women who tested HIV positive after exposure were adolescents from the same age group that I've mentioned. So during the same period again, we saw that adolescents aged 10 to 19 years accounted to 18% of women who attended ANC in Siaya County. So this is alarming and clearly demonstrates the impact that the SGBV has on HIV response among women and girls in Kenya, and specifically in Siaya County. Therefore, there is need for individual and collective responsibility of all players to ensure meaningful involvement of all community members. And the chair of Malme mentioned that we are not seeing the parents here. So when are we involving the parents of these girls? When are we also involving the boys who are, maybe some of them are perpetrating the same? So Kenya Red Cross Society also acknowledges, Kenya Red Cross Society, through its sub-recipients across Siaya County and with the support from the Global Fund, is currently intervening to reduce human rights and gender-related barriers in accessing HIV services. So you've seen the center that we've launched. It is a state-of-the-art youth wellness center that provides integrated youth-friendly services to reduce new HIV infection, HIV mortality, stigma, and discrimination in this county. This is a timely response to GBV issues in Bondo sub-county and across the county. So the center is a pivotal center as it acts as a center for excellence for the county, where other players can come and benchmark in the provision of adolescent services. So having it within the hostel in itself is unique, and will significantly contribute to the efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability of services to this targeted population. So Kenya Red Cross also would like to acknowledge the efforts made by different players, because it is not only by them that they have achieved this progress, but we also acknowledge the different players who have really contributed to ensure so that we free our mothers, sisters, and daughters from gender-based violence.
In 2012, the Kenya National Commission did an inquiry, public inquiry on the issue.
As Rona is coming, Siaya Muungano Network.
Today, as the International Human Rights Day. It's supposed to be tomorrow, but we decided to join you in celebrating today.
Foundation, we support widows and orphans. Thank you very much.
Babu tuko hapa leo, kwa hivyo tungeomba muje karibu. Musijitenge na sherehe. Vijana, mama anasema muache kutembea jongeni.
We take them through knowing their rights, because they must know their rights. Then another issue that has really the legislators, like Honorable Gideon Ochanda from the national government, the county government, that responded to, then we are going to lose our mamas who have remained behind, taking care of the orphans. Another issue is sexual and gender-based.
Issue was the need for the government to set up youth-friendly services across the country, and Siaya County government.
Second also, in the interest of time.
I work for a program called USAID for the Child. We are doing this program in Siaya County, our area MP, other distinguished guests, members of the community, our young people. Good afternoon.
Do you still wait for the process of the ODPP? So those are the two key areas that we need to look into.